Okay. And are we still interested in the same things after death, or does our focus change completely? Can we keep up with the earthly things that we enjoy and tune into stuff still going on here in Earth, or do we evolve past all of that into new dimensions of experience?
You can focus on anything you wish. You are free to do so because of the intermittent time state that you are in. Past, present, future are all there for you to view in any way, shape, or form you wish, along with any particular thing that you did as a physical being that you may still hold a reason to be interested in. But that's the real key, is you may no longer be interested in it based on what you're experiencing as a soul. So it's possible that you can focus on certain things you were doing when you are physical. For the most part, it is not necessarily probable or likely that you will still feel like doing so. But yes, it's possible. It's just that you may realize now you have other options that you didn't know about before, and that may take precedence.
And from the perspective of our ego and personality self, what happens when we wake up or transition out of a lifetime? Do we immediately return to full awareness of ourselves at a higher level, or is there some process we go through to unwind from the lifetime and reintegrate back into a broader perspective? How do we get from A to B, so to speak?
Well, again, it depends. Most individuals will have an awakening to most of what they need to know. Now, again, there is such a thing called a life review, which you can look at as a process that the soul may go through to understand how to absorb the lessons of the physical experience that it created for itself. So you could say that that looks like it would, quote unquote, take some time and be a process. But again, you're looking at that from a linear perspective. To the soul, it does actually happen all at once, but again, it can feel like it's something that unspools or unfolds over time. And again, this is why we say the soul level can experience intermittent time. Sometimes it can feel like time is unfolding, sometimes things can happen instantaneously. It just depends. For the most part, in general, when you wake up in spirit back to your true self as a soul, you will have a relatively full awakening of all the things you need to know. All the questions you wanted answers to will be given to you. And in that state, you will understand many things that you may not understand as a physically focused being. But for the most part, you will still maybe go through things to consider how you want to use the information for the next choices that you will make, and therefore experience, again, a little bit of the idea of intermittent time. And, no pun intended, at the same time, you can also utilize that information to create instantaneous and simultaneous experiences in deciding what to do next, so to speak.
Does God have a God himself?
God, in our estimation, in our particular perspective, is all that is. If there is the idea that there could be something quote unquote higher, then that is the all that is. And if that has something higher, then that is the all that is. So that is an infinite and eternal constant that always moves in the direction of expansion. And there can be different versions of all that is, experiencing the idea of itself being all that is or not being all that is, and having something higher being all that is, but that's still all that is. So that terminology, all that is, to us is more representative of the idea than the word God, because all that is can exist at any level that you consider to be higher than what you previously thought God was.
Okay. And then this person would like to know they need some help reframing abundance and manifestation when dealing with significant debt. The very word has negative and lack implications. Even when the person says debt free or zero debt, the word debt gets me right back to the presence of lack. Let's see. Um,
Well, that is primarily because you are giving it only a negative definition. You can also look at debt in a positive way, which means there is an active principle going on where you are flowing different forms of abundance through yourself to others in such a way that allows you to attract even more. So the idea is depending on how you define the concept of debt and not always frame it in a negative construct. However, at the same time, you have to be honest within yourself about looking as to why you may have created an imbalance in the idea of your outflow with your inflow. And you may be restricting the ways in which you are allowing abundance in its different forms to come to you, which may be creating a bottleneck that allows you to experience more outflow than inflow, because you are restricting the inflow by not seeing the different forms of abundance that are available to you as being equal to other forms of abundance and support. So you have to first and foremost balance all the ways in which you could be supported as being equal, all the different definitions of abundance as being absolutely equal in their ability to allow you to move forward and allow you to increase your input, while at the same time looking at the idea that if you are being honest with yourself and not acting out of anxiety, then your outflow as well will be in balance with your inflow automatically. Again, synchronicity as the organizing principle will help with this when you define the ideas in ways that work for you, as opposed to holding on to definitions that don't. You have said that the word debt implies lack. It doesn't have to. Again, you can look at the idea as simply a product of your outflow, and it is something that allows you to know you are rich and abundant by having that level of outflow, because by having that level of outflow that you're now looking at in a negative way, the level of outflow can actually be representative of your capability of attracting an inflow that is equal to the outflow or even larger than the outflow, so you do not feel that you are, quote unquote, negatively in debt to anyone from the negative definition or point of view. So looking at debt is simply another way of saying I have an outflow, it is of this capacity, it is of this magnitude, and that magnitude of outflow, that magnitude of owing to other people, in a sense, and supporting other people, which is another positive way of looking at debt, supporting other people is equal to or less than my inflow when I expand my definitions of abundance that I am willing to allow to support me, by not focusing so strongly on only one form of it being valid. Good day, good day.
Good day, and thank you for your service.
Aveo.
My questions are three short ones. The first one being, who are my guides that I'm working with, and will that change?
Well, it changes all the time based on their particular skill sets and what it is they are attempting to guide you in. So everyone has multiple guides that take turns based on what's needed at the time. Now, they are members usually of your soul family. They don't have to be. They can be friends that you know in spirit and may remember when you return to spirit. But the idea is that there are sometimes spirits that choose to be guides that are not necessarily members of your soul family, but they want to practice with someone, and so they are given the opportunity to do so when and where their skill set and their experience so allows. So guides can be many things. They can come from many different places. They can be parts of your soul family. They can be parts of another spirit dimension. They can be extra-dimensional or extraterrestrial beings. It just depends on what you need at the moment. But they will trade out and take turns. Usually you will have 2 to 3 that sort of stay with you throughout the lifetime, even though they may also take turns. Sometimes you connect into the angelic realms as well, again, as necessary.
Okay. And allowing that to just happen and continuing to go with my passions, I will be guided.
Yes, of course, always. You're never left alone in that sense, except to the degree where you need to learn to guide yourself. So it's not
Mhm.
done for you, but it is done to help you understand how to get in touch with yourself, feel the connection that you have to source that never goes away, so that you can be your own best guide. So a lot of times the guidance will come through the form of synchronicity, because they're using what's already in front of your face in physical reality to deliver the message. So if information that you require is already present in your reality, all that a guide may need to do is give you a slight nudge, a whisper in your ear, so to speak, to get you to pay attention to something that's already almost right in front of your face to give you the information that you need. You may not recognize that as guidance. You'll just call it a coincidence or synchronicity that you overheard exactly what you needed to overhear exactly at the right moment. But that can also be the product of a guide nudging you in the direction where to make sure that you will run across the information that you need.
Thank you. I understand. In regards to children, because
Yes,
I work with my grandson and other children in a Montessori setting.
yes.
Um, they're obviously not here on the call, but are they also realizing and choosing during this shift?
Of course, every being is a spirit. Everyone has chosen a path, and every spirit knew that this is a time of transformation and transition on your planet. It is the ending of certain cycles and the beginning of other cycles that will propel people who are willing to join certain positive cycles into a reality where you will experience an expansion of consciousness and an expansion of connection to your galactic family and your soul family. So many children being born on your planet now are not just a new generation, they are a new species entirely.
Mm. Okay, thank you. And the last thing is working with sound. So I like to work with sound, Sanskrit, music, all of that. Is there any
Yeah.
particular vibrational sound that will help me to
Well,
stay?
whatever you are attracted to, explore, experiment. The
Mm,
harmonics that exist that are ones that are representative of natural ratios, what you call golden proportions, and things like that can often be best for most people on your planet to allow you to experience harmony and connection and communion with the idea of nature. So explore and experiment. Whatever you're attracted to because the attraction tells you it will work with your belief system.
got it. Pretty simple anyway.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Those are my three. I appreciate your time, peace, and thank you again, Bashar.
Our deep gratitude to you, our unconditional love to you. Aveo.
Adeo.
And there is a book called Alien Interview, which is about the communication between an ET survivor and the nurse that established telepathic contact with the ET called AIRL. Has this planet been a prison planet where social deviants have been dumped and their memories continually erased with each incarnation, as the ET indicated?
No, that's a total misunderstanding, a total misinterpretation. You are not a prison planet. You are not social deviants that have been dumped anywhere. So, no.
Um, it appears that the languages spoken by the various hybrid races differ. Yael channelers have shared words in their language that don't seem to exist in your ancient Sasani language, and vice versa. If each hybrid race has a unique language, what is the rationale behind this? Does it stem from each race having a distinct perspective, or is there another explanation?
Well, first of all, you have hardly heard any of our ancient Essassani language. You have probably hardly heard any of the Yael language as well. So you don't really have a large basis for comparison as to what words do and don't exist in each respective language. That being said, yes, there are differences in much the same way that you have different dialects in different countries on your planet because of the differences in each of the hybrid civilizations and their experiences and what it is they are meant to do as their place in open contact can allow for divergence to occur in the way that they experience and utilize the idea of language. So yes, there can be differences, right? Well, two things. Number one, you have to be able to tell the difference between red light synchronicity and something that is actually blocking your way. That is a negative thing, a negative belief. Because there is green light synchronicity that says, here's an opportunity you are able to act on. And there's red light synchronicity that says, this may be representative of your passion, but it's not the time for you to act on it now. So look for something else that is representative of your passion you are able to take some action on. Otherwise, it may be something that is being blocked by a negative belief you're holding on to. And the idea is to understand what you may be getting out of, if that's the case, holding on to that negative belief, because you don't hold on to anything that you don't believe serves you. So if you believe that the alternative is worse or scarier, or that something worse will happen if you move forward, then you will stay exactly where you are, regardless of how it may not be representative of what you prefer, because it feels more familiar and it feels safer than the belief system that's telling you that moving forward would be scarier or something worse would happen than where you are now. So stay where you are so you'll be safe. So you have to first be able to tell the difference between whether it's just red light synchronicity saying, this is your passion, but not right now, look for something else you can act on, and a negative belief that is actually preventing you from moving forward because you're afraid that moving forward will be worse than staying still. So you have to get in yourself, you have to be honest with yourself about the idea of what you believe might happen if you did move forward in that way, if you did have the opportunity to act on what you say your passion is, and find out whether or not you are actually afraid of something if you move forward, or whether it's just a matter of red light synchronicity saying, it's all well and good, you'll act on this at some point, but not right now, it's not the timing. So you have to have an honest discussion within yourself and discover which one it is. When you do discover a fear-based belief, a negative belief, and you bring it to the surface and you're aware of it and you find out why you may be choosing to buy into it and stay where you are, it's about making that belief seem nonsensical. Because as soon as it seems nonsensical, you will drop it because you don't hold on to nonsensical things. The idea is that a belief makes itself seem to make sense, and that's why you hold on to it. So if it makes sense to you, if you think it's a fact that something worse would happen, then you will avoid moving forward at all costs. But if you look around to other people who may be doing something similar to what it is you say you're excited to do, and ask yourself, well, if they can do it, why can't I? Then you can understand that if you have the ability to perceive them doing something similar to what you would be passionate about doing, you have that ability too. And that the idea of the belief that may be holding you back doesn't make sense in light of the fact that other people can do it, so why can't you? So you have to find the nonsense in the belief. And sometimes it's just a matter of knowing that you picked this up from someone else growing up, your parents, your friends, your school, your society, and that it has more to do with the issues that you telepathically took from them than it does with your own issues. And it makes no sense for your path to buy into those beliefs anymore. So as soon as it becomes nonsensical, it makes no sense to you anymore, it's gone.